I don't like how you're standing still to shoot these shots. I know you're just practicing tracking, but I don't like how you're standing still here. This will give you bad habits. Probably better to dead zone the final shots. Also, I think one of the most valuable things with Ghost is actually to turn armor on. That forces you to keep fighting the same target, which is something that you can't practice with other guns like Sheriff. Yeah, I really don't like how you're standing still for these. Because like you're strafing into the shots, so you're partially practicing movement, but then you're throwing off your movement by standing still. Like I can understand if you were just like strafing and tracking the head without actually firing at all, but like you're not strafing anymore. Like you're just if you're standing still for the shot. Yeah, that's that specific shot right there. Like this one, the way that you take this shot if you're strafing and dead zoning is completely different than if you're standing still. Like this sort of shot would never look like that in a real fight with a ghost. Because you're strafing, like you always like the moment that you stop moving, it's like when you're moving and then you're not moving, it's almost as if you are like if you take that frame of reference from a physics perspective, it's like the whole world is shifting and then the whole world stops shifting. In order to account for that, like you need to like flick a little bit in order to counteract that sudden like stoppage of motion. Like so like this sort of thing where like you just like track the target like this and then just fire like standing still like doesn't happen when you're dead zoning. Yeah, like here I'm just moving your crosshair like towards them, like this doesn't happen. Like it's better, I think it's better to practice the micro flicks that come with dead zoning. Unless you're only hitting stationary targets. But most of the hard targets are moving. But we'll see if these, if this actually gives you bad habits that carry over. Let's skip ahead a little. I wonder if this is a little too long too. This is exactly the same practice as with the ghost. There's no difference in these exercises. I would still practice these with dead zones, but yeah, this is the same exercise. Let's skip over it. This is maybe way too long. So there's also a difference between an aim training session and like a warm up for a actual game. They're just doing the same thing as with a ghost. Like this is the same exercise. In fact, it looks like you're trying to fire one bullet, so there's no reason to even use the Phantom. Same thing with the Vandal. This is the same exercise. Alright, so you did... So I would call this Sheriff. Or I would call this Sheriff no movement. Or like movement while tracking, and then like no movement, no dead zoning, like shots. So you did this for 15 minutes.
Don't give them ground.
Start with a DM. Assume. Why are you shift walking in the open? Okay. So shield and sword here. Like you should never turn away from this doorway until you cannot be seen from this angle at all anymore. So I would only move away from this, turn away like once you strafe past this door frame. So like once you break this angle. But here you're standing still. So shield and sword, like you should never be turning away like that. Pre-aiming too much here. So like pre-aiming when you're turning a corner like this isn't very valuable. Pre-aiming is really about aiming at a specific point floating in space. I don't think you're, so in the, when I paused before, you were aimed like right here at like waist level, like in the middle of the stairs. And then you didn't even strafe all the way to check it. Same with this one. Like right now you're pointed like at the corner over here at like knee level or like stomach level. And then here, same thing. Like you're not actually ready for any enemy to fight. So this whole time you basically weren't using crosshair placement at all. So this is an example of good pre-aim, is when you turn that last corner at the top. So right here, this is good pre-aim. This is the moment that you're stepping out, you're pre-aiming the exact spot at head level, like on the thing that you want to check. So be careful pre-aiming into the wall. This is a dangerous peek. This is like one of the most common angles that at least appear in DM. So you need to like get out of here as soon as possible. Oh, I would not turn around here. So as soon as you get that kill, I would just drop because you don't really have time to turn around. You're still exposed to so many different areas and you've been in this place for so long. You're exposed to stairs, you're exposed to here, you're exposed to main. All right, so now you're practicing dead zones. Why weren't you doing dead zoning in the range? Range is the best time to practice dead zoning. Let me check your keyboard thing. I can't really tell if you're letting go or not. I feel like you were actually letting go of movement, which you should not be doing. When you're doing dead zones properly, you should never be stationary. Like, if I freeze the frame, I guess it's like tough to say because like in real life there's probably like a tiny bit of delay, but you should never should be completely standing still. Like here, like you see, there's all this time that you're not holding A or D. So maybe you're not dead zoning at all. Yeah, maybe you're not dead zoning. I would definitely recommend dead zoning practice. That's like the most important fundamental skill. And if you're going to spend 15 minutes practicing something anyway that you can do in aim labs, you might as well practice something you can only do in Valorant. Also, like the rate of dead zoning is different per gun. So you could be dead zoning much faster with the Ghost. You could be like but, pretty much, and still have perfect accuracy because the recoil reset is so fast. Like when you're practicing a gun, you should use the special parameters of the gun. So for instance, for Ghost, it doesn't one-shot the head with full armor. It has faster recoil reset than the Sheriff does. Like, and also like you might be practicing too many guns. So let's say you were even doing these correctly. Like doing it with the Ghost and Sheriff and Phantom and Vandal, I think is kind of excessive. I would probably just do Sheriff and then like either Phantom or Vandal, whichever one you prefer for now. And then maybe like once you have like a good practice routine and you get comfortable with the gun and stuff like that, you can worry about learning other guns. But right now I'm not a huge fan of your routine. So this is an example of so this one, it's like fine to stand still and shoot him technically. Like I would probably still prefer to like practice strafe movement at least after the first like 2 shots, because like after this she has time to turn around. I actually do start to strafe, so it's fine. Crosshair's kind of low when you check mark it. Turn the sound up. All right, this is much better. Well, at least when looking at your dead zoning shots anyway, or like how you're taking these shots. Although I still don't know if you're actually dead zoning. This is weird that you're not holding one key or the other. But like all of these shots on this Reyna, they're like slightly flicked, which is not something you're practicing at all. Like you see, like all these are little micro flicks. Like that's good. Like you need, when against a moving target, you need to practice micro flicks, but none of your practice in the range was practicing against moving targets. You were practicing your stationary and their stationary, and you just miss if they moved. But this is like the micro flicks that lets you hit a moving target like while they're strafing. And then this is really bad here. So you step backwards, completely exposing yourself to this angle. So shield and sword, like, doesn't make sense. If anything, you would push forward and then come around this corner to break the ramp angle even, to reduce the sightlines even more. Because I think that way you can't be seen from sight. You're really lucky you didn't get killed from heaven here. So this was better, better usage of the ghost here. Like, this is closer to the rate that the ghost can fire at, which is faster than Sheriff. We didn't even look left. Here you should be looking left. Didn't even check that. Over aim, or your pre-aim is a little too far here. Like, what are you pre-aiming here? I guess you're pre-aiming this, sort of. But this is like, I don't know about pre-aiming into the wall. Like, let's see if I can catch the actual frame where you're peeking at like the doorway. Yeah, like here. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, you're not gonna strafe. You can't even strafe left to like go and check this. Like, your crosshair should be up here, ready for them swinging. And then your crosshair did end up about here at the moment that deadlock swung. So like, you're forced to. Oh, I can just frame regress. Like, this is what your crosshair looks like when she swings. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, human reaction speed is like, at the rate that humans react, like, look how many frames it is until you can react. And then so like when I said to be holding like out wide here, like this is basically exactly where she was standing. Instead of needing to flick like that. Yeah, your crosshair placement's very, very low. Like here, like this is at like ankle level. Do it again right here too. It's like at like really low, not like a regular spot. So crosshair placement needs some work. You're looking at minimap, it's fine. Crosshair placement's way too low. Like look at where your crosshair is. It's like knee level. You flick up into it, but no reason to pick out your knife here. So if you want to take this fast, if you can silent jump with your ghost out, the ghost isn't that much slower than knife. And also like there's the pathing is weird here too. So this is a pathing that I really like. So here you peek this corner like of the doorway when you don't have to. So like you should only have to be watching this box in this area. So if you, let me see if I can point it out. All right, so right here, when you're jumping, you can just jump up onto this side, and that way you never peek the doorway. Like you can clear this side first, or you can do it more gradually, and you can do it via like a clean strafe rather than off the ramp. So like I like to stand back a little further here first, and that gives you like slightly better. It also breaks the sightline from flank, so you can't get shot in the back from main or from like people coming from sight as well. Whereas right now you're totally exposed, and then you have to turn around. Whereas if you're up here, you wouldn't have to. Definitely does not make sense to pull out knife here. Shield and sword. That was a good strafe. Oh, I think this is the practice messing with you here. So here you're like completely stop moving when fighting this guy. That was reminiscent of when you were shooting the bots. Pre-aim is not good here. Look at your pre-aim right here. Actually, I guess it's okay. You're pre-aiming sewer. It's just early. I would probably start pre-aiming sewer now. But like, you pre-aim very, very early. That's your movement. Yeah, I feel like you're not actually dead zoning. So hard to tell though. I have to turn on my little keyboard thingy, no board or whatever, and see if it looks the same as yours. Yeah, it doesn't. So just watching how small your movement is, like I don't think you're actually dead zoning at all. Like even when you're not tagged, it just you get so little ground off the shot. Considering like how often you're firing, like you're firing pretty slowly. I'm pretty sure you can get that much movement off of shots that are almost twice as fast. Oh, these are really nice flicks. Or nice micro adjustment. So this first flick and then the second reflick back on was really good. Let's see if I can get that. Yeah, this flick right here. So you see how at this point you're just like, you haven't even seen her yet. Like your human reaction speed hasn't caught up. Your crosshair just happens to be placed very well. And this is the flick right here, starting this frame. So this frame, 1, 2, 3, 4, flick. So 4 flames into the flick. That was really good. And then even better is this one. So this one starts from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, flick. That was really good. So this is what you're not practicing in the range that you could be practicing, is practicing these little like micro flicks. Let's see how your keyboard handles it. All right, so this one you do press D on that shot. You let go of D. Oh, how many frames did you let go of D for? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 frames before you try to dead zone. 8 frames. What is that? I think it's at 60 FPS. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not dead zoning. But those are really nice micro flicks. Whoa, shield and sword. Alright, so here you turn around right when you're like peeking this. So I think you're like almost exposed or partially exposed, but this is one of the worst places you can be. You're exposed to 4 different angles. Like if you heard that guy mark it, I would just push forward into heaven. And then once you clear a bit of heaven, maybe then you can turn around and fight. But you can't just stand here in the open. What if she doesn't swing? Then you're just standing here in the open exposed to all sides. Yeah, you were exposed to this guy. Crosshair's really low. Trying to actually freeze frame it, but it's kind of hard. Or let's go back frame by frame. So look how like low your crosshair is. Like this doesn't ever make sense. I know you were aiming here and you were trying to check left briefly, but like your crosshair should be like in a more reasonable spot.
10 kills remaining.
Interesting strafing into that shot. I think you could have reacted a little bit faster. Your right hand aim was very slow. Not much you can do about that omen though. You got lucky on that one. Although Ghost is pretty good running gun accuracy, so it's actually not that uncommon. But you get rope shots on it. Nice shots. What, you just peek main like that? How can you peek main like that? This is how you peek main. This is how you peek garage, the most dangerous angle here. And there's actually a guy there too. You're so lucky you're alive. But yeah, when you hear sounds from behind you, ignore them. Like, you know that they can't shoot you. So think of it as like, oh, I'm definitely protected from the back, because if there was like someone that could swing me, that the guy that I heard would have killed him. The way you swing this is like, so this is how you died last time. The way that you swing this is just very, like, you just swing the whole thing at once. Like, normally you'd at least check like the dangerous angle first before you go at the rest. Could you swing that while holding W? Or this swing here. Let's see. Yeah, you press W in the middle of the swing. I mean, maybe you thought you cleared everything already, but I feel like you pressed W so fast, your brain wouldn't have had time to register if there's an enemy there. Would have just W'd into it. Nice movement. Ghost is pretty good running gun, especially at that range. Alright, so it seems like your strength are like actually these microflicks, which is interesting because a lot of other people have weaknesses on the microflicks, and you don't practice it in the range at all. But you need to practice your dead zoning movement. You need to practice strafe shooting.
5 kills remaining.
It's actually interesting because yeah, that was really good. I should actually recommend this practice to other people. I think this is actually really good because you need to headshot them twice. So it forces you to track and reflect like this. This is so good. Crosshair placement is pretty bad on this. So you didn't clear left. You didn't clear this common angle of up on rafter. And you didn't clear this extremely common angle. Wait, you didn't even clear that angle. What the? This angle right here? You just ignored it. This angle? At least you checked main there.
One kill remaining.
I'm confused, but whatever. I'll probably be micro-strafing a little bit there and there. Alright, interesting.
Fight.
I'm ready.
Doing a sheriff one next. Let's see if you dead some with the sheriff. Looks like no. Maybe you are. Let me see. Watching your keyboard. Maybe you're doing the same thing as with the ghost. Yeah, like this was this would have been a dead zone. Just the way you D than A. I feel like there's like less delay when you're just turning around than when you're trying to dead zone. You didn't even look left. There's a guy right there. Whoa, that was. Let's see. I guess you're just pre-aiming this and standing still. Rather than like strafing out till you see them and then dead zoning the shot. Nice. That was very good. It's fine. Yeah, like your tracking and flicks are pretty good. I wonder if you played other games that require tracking before. Crosshair placement on that one. I would not take out my knife here. Nice. This is how you peek main? What is he doing? Like trying to jump spot for some reason, even though he knows you're there. I don't know about standing still there for that shot. Like you just walk out and stand still. Like I think this should be dead zoned. Nice flicks. Slightly dangerous how you peek this corner. So this is fine, but you backed up enough that you're like already exposed to this angle, even though you're facing this way. So shield and sword, you should have been like half a step to the right. Same thing. You didn't check door before you stepped out. How are you not? Let me see this keyboard. You're just letting go of the movement key. It's weird. Nice checking in the minimap. That's a good flick. Oh, you get punished for pre-aiming? Yeah, like this doesn't make sense to aim at the wall here. Like this is the angle that you have to watch. Like look how far you are from this. Shield and sword here. Your pathing here doesn't make sense. Right now you're exposed to 4 angles. Your flank, you're exposed to bottom, you're exposed to top and market. Whereas most people, they would pad this way so that they would get this, like, this thing would block market for them. So they're only exposed to 3 angles, so you would never be exposed to this guy. And then you loop around this side, and then you use this as cover from these two, like from tiles and from bot mid. And then you're only exposed to top mid and market. And even then, when you're pathing towards the door, you can just watch top mid from here and then only turn away from top mid for this little amount of time that you're pushing into market. Alright, so I know there's a trigger discipline where like standing still, taking your time to aim is good. But I would also say that like theoretically you get so comfortable with moving that like moving into your shots that it shouldn't actually make it that much worse. Because right now you're still exposed, you're still in the open here. You can be seen from the other side of spawn. Like, there is advantage in weaving movement in. This was something you could have pre-aimed, but you didn't? Yeah, this one you didn't pre-aim at all, you just sort of stepped out. It's fine. You did good pre-aiming that. So this is just kind of weird to watch this. Like, in a real game, this is probably more likely, because in a real game, the defenders are less likely to just swing this incredibly dangerous angle and are more likely to be playing this sort of spot and swinging out. But in a DM, it doesn't make sense. Pre-aim's like a little bit. It's fine. Watching your keyboard. Yeah, I don't think you're dead zoning. Shot. Nice shot. Nice shot. Yeah, your flicks and your with the ghost, your tracking is really, really good. I think that's what's carrying you most of the time. But the movement's not awful, but the movement could definitely be tightened up a lot. Yeah, this is pretty, the movement's pretty weak.
10 kills remaining.
Is there a guy on your left? Yeah, I thought there was a guy there. But yeah, you're not really using cover with shield and sword that often. And the pre-aim habit. Yeah, doing that is suicidal. Like, that's like one of the most dangerous places that you could be standing still. You didn't even check mid here. There was a guy there. You're exposed to the other side. Check spawn. That last shot saved your life. You checked both those angles at the same time. You're standing still, but you're exposed to the other side. Didn't check safe box.
1 kill remaining.
Good job checking tight right.
Fight. No prisoner.
Alright, let's see your rifling.
Pathetic.
I think your rifling is gonna look pretty good because you actually stop. So your burst should be pretty clean. Whereas for single shot weapons you don't have to stop.
Pathetic.
I don't think you need to stand still here in the open. You could be crouching here to get cover from heaven.
Phoenix killed.
Yeah, I don't really like how you don't use cover. You're just standing out exposed in the open.
Insect.
You're not even really in like an off angle either. Yeah, the way that you play, you just ignore cover. Like when you fight the Sova, most people would use this stuff as cover and strafe left here and use this left doorway. But you just step out wide and peek main. Even though there's a guy main. There's a guy right here. Luckily he wasn't facing you, but he was there the whole time.
Dominating.
You're still exposed to spawn here.
Don't resist. 3 souls.
I'll keep my gun out. You get really lucky that no one swung you.
4 dead. Dominating.
Yeah, this is sort of what I expected. You have bad dead zone movement, but you're, what's it called? Because you stop to shoot, like it works perfectly for shooting in bursts. And then your flick and tracking are both really good. Guy on your left.
Phoenix killed.
Also, you probably just lower your MMR by playing the other DMs with weaker weapons. So these enemies should be easier as well. Oh yeah, the way you peek main here, it's just suicidal. You got killed from lane. Yeah, here you didn't even use cover. Here you didn't use this box as cover from tile, you're just out in the open. Could have jumped down here and used this as cover from bot mid. You're just exposed to everything. Here at least you're using cover from spawn. I don't know. Do you hear something? I don't know why you're waiting here. I guess you heard him.
No need to suffer.
My audio is, or the audio on the video is kind of low. I turned on my audio like 3 times the normal. You're just standing out in the open. Yeah, honestly, I think it's better practice for you to go out seeking fights or like moving in a way as if you're entering rather than just standing still and waiting for people to come to you. I think it gives you better practice of your movement.
Four dead.
I'm guessing this is how you're gonna play your actual game as well, but I'll split that into a separate video since this one's getting kind of long. You finally crouch sprayed and you got punished for it.
5 kills remaining.
Yeah, this is pretty expected because of the lowering of MMR.
3 souls. 4 dead.
That was nice leading of the shot.
It's late.
Alright, I assume you're gonna go into your actual game after this. Oh no, you have another one with Vandal? Alright, I don't know if you have to do this many games. What the heck? Although I do think like the Phantom and Vandal warm-up game is more wait, what is that? Crouching? I don't think you need to be crouching here. Unless you're just trying to like dodge the bullets out of instinct. But crouching is gonna slow down your movement. But it also relies on the enemy having good enough aim to be shooting ahead at that range. Nice shot. I'm curious about your keyboard for that one. Your tracking is really good. Yeah, you really don't like cover, do you? I guess since you dropped your GM MMR so much that you can just like stand in the open and just win the fights. You're in the open from your flank right now. You haven't cleared this in a while. Peak snowman kind of dangerously there. Nice shot. I usually just like to practice clearing all my angles here, like
10 kills remaining.
just for practice. It's tracking. I would not put my gun away there. You know there's a guy behind you.
Remaining. Dominating.
It's a little awkward. It's fine though. It's fine.
Remaining.
Hello everyone, Uncle Mike.
Alright, I'm gonna cut this video here, leave some comments.